military, and then I was really sat down, like, what do I want to do? I want to do something above the norm. Like, I didn't want to just join and be a grunt or just the regular sailor. I was more focused on Navy, and I just wanted to join and just be on the ship and just do whatever job. I wanted to do something great. I did at the time think about Naval Academy. So I was discussing with my father what I should do. At first, he wanted me to do college. Then he's like, Navy. Thinking about Naval Academy, I thought about fighter pilot. That thought came in and out of my head pretty quickly. I think it was more of this, like, the stigma was like, oh, that sounds great. That sounds fun. It sounds like a cool job. But the whole Naval Academy, that just wasn't for me. And honestly, now being an officer was that my personality, so I'm glad I didn't do that. But
fucking cake eaters.
Yeah, that's not me. Then going on with SEALs, my father was a big influencer, major influencer for the SEALs. He's the one, and you've heard this in other podcasts, that he's the one that brought the information home for me. Because at the time, there was minimal information online or whatsoever. He brought home a pamphlet, like those little trifold pamphlets that had SEALs, all little blips of information, not much, but just like, this is Navy SEALs. And I was like, holy shit, like, that was it. Especially him giving it to me. That was more maybe a subconscious thing for me. Like, at the time, I look back and like, maybe that was, seeing him give me this, like, hey, you need to be doing something great.
Yeah.
Like, that set the tone.
That's pretty surprising. You don't hear that very often about their parents push their kid into special operations. I think that's cool, but you don't hear that ever.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
It's very surprising. What did you know, when he gave you the pamphlet, what that was or what that would entail?
I knew what they were, but I didn't know what it entailed. I've heard of them, but just vaguely. I didn't know all that, like, just a glimpse into that kind of pamphlet thing of what they were about. Because at the time, before that, I didn't research them. I've heard of it on, like, a little bit, but once I got that in my hands, then I dove deep, I deep dived into it.
Yeah.
And I just became obsessed, because even just looking at that, getting it from him, and then reading it, I knew that was going to be a good fit. That was more my style, who I was, my personality, where I would fit and do good and be successful. And after that, I was like, that's it. Like, that's what I'm going to do. And the merit, especially with the water aspect too, because that's what drove me kind of the Navy, the maritime aspect, and that was like perfect. It's like SEALs would be a perfect fit for me.
You liked the water growing up?
I agree. Yeah, I did.
Do you like it now?
I have a different relationship with it now.
I think a lot of guys have a different relationship with that after a ride.
Takes me about 10 minutes to get in the water now.
You just look at it like, oh, fuck, I hope it's not cold.
Slow crawl into it.
You signed up at 17 years old. You can't even legally do that by yourself. What was that like, and why didn't you just wait till you were 18?
Yeah, for me, I knew in my core that I wanted to do this so bad. I was like, I need to sign up, make this happen. Because when I did that even stoked the fire even more, because now I had that goal. I already made that commitment, and there was no turning back in my mind.
Yeah.
But I was so set in that time, because I enlisted this summer going into my senior year, because I wanted to graduate and go.
So you enlisted before your fucking senior year of high school?
Yeah. So I was already in the Navy, the DET program, throughout my senior year. So I knew for a fact I was going. I already knew when I was leaving for boot camp, like halfway through senior year.
Holy shit.
I left literally a month later, after I graduated high school, 1 month later.
Wow. So looking back now, after all you've been through, do you think you had any idea how big of a fucking decision that was that you made at 17 years old to go? And then this is post 9/11. What year is this?
06.
06.
So yeah, post 9/11. So no. I knew I was making a major commitment, because I knew SEAL Special Forces, like, this is big time, dude. But being at a young age, like, just knowing the minimal knowledge I knew about it, I didn't know the magnitude. That was way bigger. It didn't really come to life till I actually got there.
Wow.
But I definitely knew I was making a life-changing decision, a difficult one, hell of a challenging one too. But the magnitude didn't really hit me until I actually got to Buds, and that's when reality struck. But I knew what I wanted to do. That's why I joined so early, because I wanted to leave right away.
Yeah.
I didn't want buffer time, because I knew myself, I was like, if I drag this out, then I'm going to create excuses or something.
Yeah.
Because I Loctite my training like over a year out when I enlisted. I was like so 100% front side focused.
You were locked on.
Locked on, like 100% training on that thing.
Decision.
That was my life. I didn't give a shit about anything else. Like, I played a little bit of sports. That helped me, and then trained. And then I didn't care about it. I finished school, passed. I wasn't exceptional, because I was all I cared about was SEALs.
A's, B's, C's, or below on your grades?
No A's. I got like couple B's, C's, and a D in math. I wasn't a math student. I got like a D in math. Not a math guy. Now, actually, believe it or not, I'm decent at math now, but at the time, I think, because I think I just didn't put effort into it. I don't know why, but the interest wasn't there. I was so focused on something else.
Yeah. So how long after graduation did you go to boot camp?
Graduated June of 06, went to boot camp in July.
You went to boot camp?
Went to boot camp in July. I graduated high school in June, so a month later I left for boot camp in July of 06. And then boot camp is boot camp, and then I went to core school after boot camp.
Oh, shit. I joined July of 01. That's weird.
Yeah, but July 18th was the day I went there.
Wow. When you joined, you had the SEAL contract or whatever they were calling it at that time. And at that time, did they make you go through an A school to fill a job with the Navy if you quit? Or did you go straight to Buds?
Yeah, they did. I had to pick a rate. I had to pass the SEAL PST before I got to try out for Buds, prior to even boot camp, and then I had to pick a rate. I ended up picking core school, because at the time there was only an approved list. It wasn't any job in the Navy. They gave me a list like of 5 jobs, like ordnance, radar, core school, and I looked at it. I was like, maybe I'll just pick something that's practical. You know, that's going to be useful in my life, medicine.
So you did that.
Yeah, I had no idea like I would be interested in it. It's like, okay, medicine, that sounds more useful than an AO or something who loads just ordnance on ships.
Yeah.
So I picked that, and that kind of paved the way.
How old were you when you got to Buds?
19.
19
18,
years old.
Yeah, I turned 19, yeah.
So you did all this preparation from age 16. You made that decision. 17 you signed.
Really locked tight, yeah.
You get to Buds. Did you think you were prepared when you showed up?
I did.
Were you prepared when you showed up?
I thought I was. I mean, everything up until that point, I really thought I did everything I can, had all the tools, thought I knew everything I needed to know about training and to be physically and mentally ready. But once I actually started Buds, I knew there was things that I wasn't ready for. I mean, it was going to be a surprise.
Yeah.
Things you just can't train for.
What was that like for you? I mean, you'd seen, I'm assuming you watched every damn piece of content you could get your hands on, Discovery Channel, History Channel, books, whatever you could get your hands on. And so you thought you knew the whole process. You saw it all on, or what you thought you saw it all. And then you're there and you see the bell and you see the grinder and you see the instructors and you see the classes. They're already classed up, going through Hell Week, second phase, third phase. What was that like when you showed up and you saw all that shit for real for the first time?
Definitely nerve-wracking. It was a surreal experience. So I remember checking in. I checked in with like a handful of other guys. We walked into the quarterdeck, checked in, and then they marched us through the grinder. And there was a class going on the grinder getting beat or doing a PT. That was definitely a surreal experience for me. Nervous as hell, scared. Also very excited too. Like I had all kinds of emotions in me. I didn't know how to act, just stoic face, but internally because I was just like this frail, skinny 19-year-old out of boot camp, lost so much weight. So I was just like, I look so damn young.
Yeah.
But I didn't, like I said, prior to that point, I thought I knew what I was going to get myself into until I saw it, and I was like, holy shit, here it is.
Yeah, you see.
Yeah.
You see guys that are mid-20s, early 30s.
Yeah, because I saw first phase guys, see like second, third phase guys running around. These like brown shirts. These dudes got long hair, look like, more mature, older, and like, fuck, it was taken back.
Yeah, shit, some of them have already been to combat and back from other branches and decided they want to try out for a SEAL.
Yep.
And you're a 19-year-old punk kid
Yeah.
from Huntington Beach, California. I mean, did that intimidate you, seeing guys like that quit?
It didn't intimidate me. I didn't really notice it at first. I mean, I didn't really pay attention to people who quit. I was just, especially in the beginning, there was just so many of us that you wake up and there's lost like 10 guys.
How many did you start with?
We started around 140, I believe, something like that. And then I ended up graduating buds with 31, 32.
Shit, so that's, they say it's like an 85% attrition rate.
Yeah.
And that's, well above that. So, must have been a tough class.
Last hardest class?
Yeah, I hear that all the time too. When you showed up, whether it's selection or buds, a lot of guys showing up to those kind of training curriculums, they have one famous evolution in mind that they're scared shitless of. Like a lot of guys who go to buds, it's the 50-meter underwater swim, or selection is the land nav. Did you have anything that you were really worried about?
Me was the boats on heads. I saw it, I didn't know how. I went to that point, like I knew I had to do 4-mile run. I knew I had to do the swim. I wasn't really sweating that. I heard about the 50-meter. Wasn't really sweating that. But watching the videos and stuff like that, I seen like the log PT and the guys sprinting with this boat on their head. I ended up being right, because that's, in my opinion, still the worst evolution in buds. I mean, it's definitely mentally and physically the most taxing, running with that thing on your head, especially when people around you aren't holding their weight in the beginning. When you're all collectively holding your weight, then it's manageable. But when people start slipping, then it's brutal. For me, that was one of the most in the beginning, probably one of the most challenging things.
Was that as bad as you thought it was going to be? The boats on heads?
It was worse.
Was it worse?
I didn't even know. I just saw it. I didn't even know how bad it was going to be. Those are things you can't prepare for, like boats on heads, log PT. Those, watching guys on the video, it just doesn't really do it justice.
Yeah, it's a little bit different watching somebody with a rubber boat on their head, and you're like, how bad can it be? And then your head's under that boat with a bunch of sand in between your scalp and that boat that weighs, I don't know, a couple 100 pounds full of sand and water. Mm-hmm. And then, it takes your scalp with it. And
crushes your neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an eye-opener for sure.
Did the thought of quitting ever cross your mind going through? Never once.
No, and I can honestly say that, no. Never thought about it one time.
No shit.
Definitely struggled through buds on certain physical evolutions and challenged definitely a lot. But the thought of giving up, no.
What did you struggle with?
Running.
Running?
Yeah. Running was my kryptonite. As it progressed, in the beginning it was okay, and then it got progressively a little worse, and then it kind of set me back.
Did it? Did you get rolled back or?
Second phase, I got rolled back for runs.
Oh shit! How was that? Did that just crush your mindset?
Yeah, I was embarrassed for sure, especially over runs. I just felt like, what the fuck, Travis? Like, over fucking runs, this is what we do. Maybe I would have taken it better if I like failed pool competency or something like that, or a dive, because that's a difficult task. But if